Yeah.
So right now, Fabi, he sent me a video that we've planned together. It's sort of like a 2 minute trailer of the land, and they shot it with like an action camera. He actually sent it to me 2 days ago for me just to see, because I did kind of like a script of shots which would be good for them. And then I came here to Puerto Viejo. They continued the shooting, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Once it's put out, I'll send it to you. They got the trampoline there. They got like shots of people doing yoga in different poses from the perspective of the person. And yeah, I see it. I see it. They're trying to get people to become investors, so the place becomes more of like a retreat center, so people can kind of come and experience a little taste of this off-grid living that they have.
Hmm.
So they're gonna do like a bunch of packages, for people's budgets, and then they're gonna do something in Miami. So yeah, I think the whole project is going well. I don't know
Okay.
what did I say last time? I spoke about the
It's a,
juicing. Yeah, that
mhm.
was cool with the kids. Uh,
Yeah.
and then another thing was this kind of like this feeling of being like six of us in a truck, like a family, and the soccer mom van vibes where everything is kind of planned out for you,
Hmm.
and you're going from point A to point B, and you got your purpose. So coming from like a family where I didn't have any brothers or sisters, this
Mm.
was this was an experience where it was like a family all bunched up in one van, and there's no responsibility. Like, okay, we're gonna go juicing with the kids. I was in charge of filming,
Hmm.
and then it was like, okay, you do the filming. These people are gonna do with the kids. You get some vibes from the kids. You drink some papaya
Hmm.
juice. On to the next location. And I kind of felt as a projector, I kind of felt carried. That was one great
Oh,
experience. Kind of felt, integrated into a structure that someone else already has in place. That was a very good feeling, a very family feeling.
yeah. That togetherness, that family orient, when you're saying like coming from your background, you mean coming from like Croatia, like coming from where, or well, being raised around no siblings. Like, you're an only child as well?
Hmm.
So same for me. So I'm an only child. So, I've found solace in that solitude, and, being able to be alone without being lonely. But it is nice to be in those environments with other people in that way where you do feel that companionship with others. Yeah. So it's a lot different. You're saying it was like coming from your background, did it feel like it felt welcoming to have that different environment or that different element around you?
Hmm. Um, More of like, hmm, the, I think the main point is the the fact that it's kind of already structured, and the feeling of coming into something that is well thought out, well organized, well planned, very, like, yeah, feeling of safety, feeling of structure, that someone else kind of knows what they're doing, and you get into that. Because I've been around a lot of communities, I've been around a lot of experiences where I end up being the structure, I end up being the organizer, expecting I might be coming already into something. And these juicings were really like thought out,
Okay.
and yeah.
So it's already established. So it's like you don't have to be the pillar or the foundation
Mm, hmm
holding everything together.
hmm
You don't have to be the glue that's holding it all together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can be the dancer. I can be kind of, you know.
In the background.
Hmm hmm
You
hmm
don't have to be on the front line, center stage. That's awesome.
hmm
That kind of does that feel like a weight off of your shoulders? Like just the pressure comes off?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because what would you say, Dennis, like originally brought you there? What was the original allure or the pull that brought you in that direction?
Hmm. Adventure and wonder, and I never been to the other side of the planet, and people, including you, people, including many others, are now closer, and I wanted to be like, also like this country is vastly different from any environment I've ever been before, and I wanted to put my body into a a very far location from wherever I've been so far, because you can't see the opportunity behind the next bend until you go to that crossroad and then look left and right. You can't see all the doors from where you're sitting. So I'm like, I'm gonna go there and just see what happens. The off-grid stuff I was kind of like, okay, I can help out with the children. I love being around children. Little generators, little pure generators have the best energy. They're just like, and they're going to be juicing, and we're going to be around them, and there's sunshine, and there's the ocean, and and I wanted to experience that. I wanted to experience just the feeling of I wanted to prove, well, not prove, I wanted to disprove some notions that I had about certain countries, about the other side of the world. The stereotypes that, let's say, Americans have about Europeans, and then Europeans have about Americans. So I just wanted to be like, I've I've I have so many beliefs in my life about other countries, other people, other professions, so many things already that I have been told should be like this from people who are either afraid or taught, or their fathers or mothers were, something happened to them from those people. And then every time I go into the experience that someone else said these people are evil, these people are whatever it is, whenever I went on my own, I was like, this is not scary at all. This is not, these people are amazing. These people are more civilized. This is better living than anything I've ever felt before in certain areas. So I just wanted to see for myself. And this is kind of like for everyone, like don't, like, advice is amazing, but don't take people's advice over putting your body into it and then kind of feeling for yourself.
Hmm. That's a great message, how seeing can be believing, how you can be in the area, see things for yourself, and have your own testimony, have your own lived experience, and just not living off of someone else's experience. I love that you take that adventure, and that you find joy in exploring that form of exploration. And it's definitely something to be said about, okay, I can take this information, but I'm gonna have my own exploration. I'm gonna
Mm,
for
mm.
myself, and see what I find. See how it aligns with me. And I love when you said about the little pure generators. The little the energy of the little generators. I was one of those pure, those little generators running around with all that energy. They called it something different back then. They had a diagnosis for that pure. But
Yeah.
I love that you say that, having that energy around you. It sounds like very nourishing. Very nourishing. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that you just said about yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing in human design, that like ADD, bipolar, neurodivergent, autistic spectrum, all these things can be explained and just flipped on their heads when someone says you are, like, you have attention deficit disorder. That sounds disgusting. That sounds so debilitating and crippling and limiting, and like, I'm not that. I'm not that. You know what I am? I have an open head center. I have an open ajna center. I'm able to focus on many things. I'm able to see many different points of view. that other people who have defined heads or, you know, stuck in tunnel vision, they can't. I mean, can't. It's more difficult for them. I have a lot of energy. Yeah, I'm a generator. I'm here to run around and dance and play and sing until I get exhausted, and then I fall away to the wayside. But then another person is autistic. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. This is not. These quotation marks are not to knock on autistic people. I'm also on the spectrum, if you want to ask me, like, perfectly. These, like, people who are autistic, maybe you guys are projectors, maybe you guys are reflectors, maybe you're not here to speak until somebody asks you. You've tried your whole life to be healthy, you have all these diagnoses, like you say. No, you've never been recognized for the mutation. You're a little mutant baby, but then the mutant is another word that has ugly connotations because of the movies or anything. You know, like a little evolved being that has that the public hasn't seen yet, that people have not been around yet, and then it's kind of weird, and people are afraid.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're a generator. I kind of suspected you were, right?
Yeah, yeah. What you say is
Mm.
true. You know, every point that you just made, Dennis, that really hits home because, you know, even when you say that word mutant, for me, when I hear the word mutant, I think of the X-Men, you know? I think of the X-Men Academy. I think of Charles Xavier and Magneto and Jean Grey and like Cyclops and like all these with the abilities, you know, superpowers. And then when you say evolved, you know, I think of Pokemon. You know, I think of Pikachu and Charmander and Bulbasaur and Squirtle, and like they're using their powers. Like each one of them has their own unique elements that they're using to their own advantage. So what somebody might seize as a disadvantage, you flip that on its head and you're saying, no, this is my advantage. You know, what somebody sees as, you know, something, you know, susceptible or something that's holding you down, you see it as a superpower. What someone sees as a crutch, you see it as your form of creativity. Like, this is me, you know? So
Mm.
I love how you flip that on its head. You're like, no, I am more focused. I have more drive. I have more energy. What's wrong with that? You know?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I wish.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, I wish I knew more about human design when I was younger, and that, you know, I didn't see certain things as a weight, you know, or as something that, like, I didn't feel like I could be great because I felt like there was all of this weight, you know? So I wish I had flipped that paradigm earlier, but I love what you said now, you know, having those words back then would have done wonders. Yeah.
I had a conversation with some friends last night about this exact thing, and one of them told me human design for parents would be an amazing course, and I was like, Dave, man, wow, this is my next course. Like after I'm finished, I have one just about to be released. I have to record just a few more things, and then after that, I'm gonna sit down and type out like, if you're a generator, you have a projector baby, do this, don't do this. If you are a projector, you have a generator baby, make another house for that baby and sleep alone and and have distance with the baby. And you know, like if you know, and going back to, and I think this course is going to be like ridiculous for people because it's going to be simple, and yeah, we haven't had human design since we were children, and our parents, yeah, they didn't have it, but our kids are going to have it. And coming back to the X-Men, I thought about, is it Cyclops, the guy that has the thing, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. The beam that comes
Mm-hmm.
out.
So I thought of him many times the last since I found out that I was a projector, and since I can feel, I can see what my presence and looking at people, how it changes them. I feel like Cyclops without the thing, and if I don't have the thing, I'm just burning through everyone, and nobody can take it. And then
Mm.
I remember him like coming face to face with Jean Grey when she was in her full power before exploding, before going full nothing mode. And she kind of took his glasses off and looked him in his eyes, and he was blasting it in her, and she kind of used her fire and psychic powers to kind of, she was able to take
Yeah.
it. And it's almost as if, like, okay, this is the fire, this is the spirit that I require, well, in other people. When I'm looking at them, they need the fire that Jean Grey has in order to withstand my gaze. So then I'm looking for people with that spirit
Yeah.
to be able to withstand.
Yes, yes. What a beautiful illustration. Like, I love that analogy. You know, the way you illustrate it is perfect. It's like, yeah, when he had his glasses and even the red glasses, like it protected others from him. You know, he thought that he was helping others, you know, not by not being destructive because he couldn't take off his glasses. So whenever he had his glasses off, he would just close his eyes really tight, you know, shut his eyes so tight because he didn't want to hurt anybody, because his gaze was, you know, it was powerful projection. That projection of energy was powerful and people couldn't handle it. So when he closed his eyes and then he, you know, she said, no, no, open your eyes. I promise
Mm-hmm.
you won't hurt me. I can take it. And he opened his eyes and like you said, she used her power to hold it back and they were able to gaze in each other's eyes. That's such a beautiful moment, you know? And it's like, to be able to do that in the real world, to see someone and have them see you and to really feel that you are seen, I mean, it's gotta feel amazing, you know? Yeah, yeah. So, you know, being as sensitive to energy as you are in this place that you've never been before, like how do you feel the energy of others feels like out there versus where you were before? Like, how does it feel? Last time we spoke, you were in Spain. So from Spain to Costa Rica, are there, you said there's still a big difference?
Mm-hmm. The fact that there's so much nature around really helps. The fact that I'm able to put my feet on the ground wherever, almost all the time. The fact that sleeping outside, um, in a tent is like fresh air through the night, less, you know, waking up and walking around. The ocean really helps, and much less EMF. So let's start off by saying that all the energy that I might feel and absorb gets discharged much quicker because I have all this greenery around, and I have also the sea where I can sit at the beach and just project everything out into the the Atlantic, or which just the ocean. I don't know if it's the Atlantic. It's just intense nothingness, and just look at it and be like that. So that's definitely a thing. People are more free. They're much more carefree, less structure, less. When they say off grid, it's it's much more literal in a sense that when there are no more when there are no tall buildings around, you don't feel gridded. You don't feel the the 90-degree angle kind of poking you in your eye wherever you go. That was kind of like, here everything is curly and organic and wavy, and there's not a lot of, you know, even the buildings, like some of these places have like triangles for gates and like circles for doors, and this is amazing. That this type of architecture really it's hydrating it's hydrating to look at instead of the. So this is one of the biggest, like one big thing is there's, let's say in Europe, there are cities like Stockholm has a lot of greenery. Lived there for 3 years. Dublin has a lot of greenery. Lived there for 2 years. And in Spain, I was for 4 months. It also has a lot. These are places with a lot of nature, but the ratio is kind of like mostly um, 90-degree buildings. Everything is aggressive to you in a way. And then here and there you have some nature. Here it's mostly nature. And when you have settlements, they're very integrated. They're very much more primal, much more. There's a lot of notions about living that we just don't need. That we thrive on less. That we thrive on space. And you know that's in Tao Te Ching, like the room is useful in its emptiness. And here, all of this, I think cities are just way too crowded. I think there's enough space in this world for everyone to have enough space so their aura can breathe, but then you can walk 5 minutes to your neighbor and have a chat with them. So I feel this is the big thing, the space here. Just the space and the ability of nature to absorb tension.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, there is more, how should I say? With more freedom, more things also come out, right? So people are more free, so therefore when they're frustrated, they're immediately frustrated. They just let it out. When they're emotional, they just let it out. So even sadness, even though I would love to see people more being sad than trying to avoid it, but that's another thing. So let's say in the more structured society, I don't feel so intense the things because people are suppressed. Here you feel things instantly. So that would be maybe similar Spain and here, because the Spanish are much more, let's say, temperamental and free than the Swedish. Here it's way quicker. It's way quicker. People feel something, I feel it instantly. No suppression. It's just freer, which everything is good and bad depending on how you look at it.
So with when there's less suppression, is there less depression?
Yes, I would say yes. I would say people are less depressed here. I'm not sure if still, like, I've been here for a month. I'm not sure if it's still genuine or is it that rush for stimulation, you know, like not being able to stop, not being able to, like, trying to get the next thing, trying to get the next hit of something. So I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure. I feel like there's that you hit that on the head, that nail on the head. There is less depression because of less suppression. I'm not quite, I can't put my finger on it still if it's genuine or it's stimulation.
Okay. Okay. Good point. I love your observations. You're very observant, and just to be in these spaces, just to have that awareness amongst different people, amongst different groups, amongst different energies. I saw when you said about living in a tent is living intentionally. I like that. I like that. It took me a second, but I was like, I got it. I got it. Yeah. So intentional living, to be intentional. How has living in a tent, how has that impacted or affected you as of late?
Just something very, like I started I started sensing indoor places a lot different. When I was back with the Pranic family, I slept on the porch in like a mosquito net,
Mm.
and I had a place indoors. However, sleeping outside in the air was infinitely better. And now I can feel much. I can feel the difference when I'm indoors as opposed to outdoors with the airflow, with just the feeling of being boxed in is different. Even though a tent is also kind of like a closed off space, it does have, you can open it and then it has the hole on the top, so there's constant airflow. So I feel like I'm slowly spoiling myself in a different way where now it's it's like being like on a what's the word, on a solid food vacation and then going back to solid food, and suddenly it's not the same thing until you try being without it. And now without walls, with feet on the ground every day, with fresh air, and not sleeping in stale air, indoor air, like I don't know, maybe I've reached the threshold where maybe going back to indoor living is not going to be an option anymore. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to try.
Wow.
See.
Wow. So being in nature in this way, you feel like you've been spoiling yourself in nature? Like, does it feel like luxurious?
Mhm.
Is it a luxury now to just be outside, to be in nature? Now, being inside, being with the walls, being enclosed, being in shelters, it doesn't feel like as luxurious?
It's a luxury that I feel many don't even see as a luxury. I feel like I can trade. I feel like I can trade most of the things that society and the world deems as, oh my God, I want to make money so I can afford this. I don't want these things. I don't want these things. I don't want to, this is luxury. This is because it's a different thing. Uh, you know how there's an adaptation curve when you quit weed, when you quit stimulating foods, where you feel like, am I ever going to have fun again?
Mm.
Am I ever going to have fun again if I don't smoke a blunt? If am I ever going to taste something amazing if there's no salt on it? And then after the adaptation period, the thing before is now rape. It's rape. And now I feel that the most things that I've deemed luxurious back in the days are now just raping me. I'm just like, it's too much. It's too much. Like simple things like ripe pineapple versus unripe pineapple. Unripe pineapple is rape. It's raping my mouth. It's not. I'm gonna try to eat it, but it's not gonna be the same thing. Same thing with weed. Same thing with some other things.
Wow. Wow. So it's like when your taste buds or when your senses have been desensitized for so long and then you let go and it becomes resensitized. Now it's like what used to feel like you used to relish this. You used to just now it's rape. You,
Hmm.
that's I mean, and that's like a harsh word. That feels like you're being violated. Or
That's
there's like a
that's what I see. I mean, I know you see it too, that a lot of things that are deemed fun are violent to us. A lot of things that we see as fun and enjoyable and even family activity, like sitting down to overeat or getting together to drink. These are all things that we all did. I did it to the ridiculous amount. I was addicted to everything you could be addicted except for hard drugs in this world, and it was fun. Wow, you think no? So there's so many things which this is one of the hardest things for me to realize now. I don't like. I'm really up for speaking things into existence, and I don't like to speak, against things that I don't want to propagate in the world. I want to speak about things that I want to see more of. However, I just want to say that right now I'm struggling with accepting how much of what the entire world deems as fun and fulfilling and enjoyable is actually destroying you. So,
wow. Wow. And when you're speaking about this, it really feels like it comes from a place of, you know it firsthand. You've experienced it, you've learned the harsh lessons. And they say that experience is the harshest teacher because it always gives us the lesson after it gives us the test, you know? So when you're talking about, you've been addicted to everything except for hard drugs, what do you feel was the most challenging addiction to either break or to release? What was the most challenging?
oh, that I think it's weed. I really think it's
Why
weed
do you say that?
because there were all these hooks inside me where I would be. It was the glue. that glued me to my first cruise, and this whole culture of, even through, like, I think it was mostly because of hip hop. I think it was mostly because of, like, hip hop was my first love, and all the people that rapped about it, and then it was part of the culture and part of all the meetups and concerts, and it was a regular thing. And because in the beginning it opened my mind, in the beginning it gave me so much. It's like opened the doors to perception until it became regular as smoking a cigarette and chasing the high that was in the beginning. You know, the laughing when you're a teenager, when the blood pressure just blows your mind away, and you're laughing because what is this? What is this? And then if I only had, I I could own a huge land here if I had all the money that I smoked in grams of weed right now. I could. I have no idea how much land could I have owned. It was multiple joints a day while playing video games, and then when it started becoming debilitating, when I started, like, I would smoke a joint and then I couldn't breathe. My whole body would go into this mode of too much, you know, a nervous system activation. And then I would look I would look up videos of Snoop Dogg smoking 7 blunts every day, and I would be rolling another one, and I'll be going, no, I'm delusional. If he can do it, I can do it. That there's no. And I was like, why am I not listening to the body just now? Look at what state I'm in. Why can he do it? I don't know why he can do it. Maybe he's also delusional about his own life, and he shouldn't do it. I don't know why. Maybe it's a marketing thing. Maybe he smokes just one and then makes a reel to make it seem like it's 7. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But it was so much what we're saying, you know, how much it's flipped what we think is good for us, how we don't even know where inside of us to ask, is this good for me or it's not good for me? What inner authority do I listen to? And what I was saying earlier was, there were all these hooks of having fun on weed, smoking weed, playing a good FPS, smoking weed, and watching an amazing anime, or, you know, like martial arts, anything that has these types of vibes that that I know you resonate with the mutants and the storytelling and just the world building intensity, vastness that you can get into. Or you're listening to music, you put your headphones on, the bass is just like, oh, your whole body, you can feel it. All the parties that I felt, the subwoofer just hitting you in the chest while you're high, it just reverberates. You just felt everything different. The sex, the intimacy, the touch with your partner just felt, you know, it felt like you can feel the chi gets activated. It's like doing qigong for an hour in just 5 seconds of smoking it. It circulates everything. But then, if you always need that joint to feel this type of way, then the hardest thing was, how am I ever going to watch anime without smoking again? How am I ever going to eat this meal without smoking? However, how am I ever going to enjoy this type? It really put me in my body. It really embodied me, made me feel energy, my own, my partner's. And then the hardest thing was, am I ever going to have fun again in my life if I don't smoke again? And then the period, you know, you stop it, and then it's, you just recognize all the things that you've been avoiding by being constantly high, constantly. You try to feel sadness. No, I'm not going to feel this sadness. I'm going to smoke this joint. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to play these video games. I'm going to avoid and avoid and avoid and avoid. And you're going up and you're going up, and you feel it's going to go forever. It's not going to go forever. You're just setting up the worst face plant in the history of downfalls. And then, so the earlier the earlier you start battling it and releasing it, the easier it's going to be. Yeah, I don't have a conclusion. It was the way the way that I defeated it is just creating, just channeling it, just making content, making artwork, moving my body, talking to people, just day by day, and slowly, like taste buds, things adjust, your hormones adjust, you find other ways to 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 fill up your day and find the happiness is different. The happiness is no longer I need to get high and then I need to get high, you know, and this is the high point. The high point is almost, it's very rare that I get to these states that I was when I was high, you know, these euphoric states. But now the baseline is higher. The regular state that is maintained throughout all existence is much higher, much stable. It's a different reward. It's like lower, it's like chronic happiness, chronic low level, you know, somebody's chronically anxious. So this is kind of like chronic low level happiness underneath everything, just this stability. And this kind of ties into what I've been speaking about, that I see that people chase happiness in all these things that are injuring us, because even an injury is stimulation, you know, even drama is connection, even any emotional turbulence, any energy moving through you is kind of better than nothing for most, kind of better than not just sitting there and breathing. But I can tell you, if you get to a point where breathing is amazing, like there's not many things that you can't enjoy after that.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing this. You know, thank you for this testimony. Like, thank you just for just being open, you know, being open and letting these words be heard. Because while you were speaking, I mean, people were commenting, people were agreeing with you below as well. Like, you know, Mr. Blue says, thank you for sharing with us. I remember Philip was saying, yeah, the weed is hard to get off of. So he definitely knows, you know, what you're talking about too. He empathizes as well. And, you know, it sounds like with all the stimulation, with all the, because I've talked to people as well, Dennis, that, you know, have told me that, you know, they have to smoke before they eat. Like they can't go get something to eat until they smoke. Like smoke, that begins the process of, you know, the enjoyment, and then the fear of not having that enjoyment in the same way if you're not high, if you're not. So, you know, someone was telling me like, you know, I'm so glad that I gave this up, but if I have to be honest, you know, sobriety is one of the most boring existed. Like it's so boring, you know. He was like, being sober is so boring, but it beats, you know, not knowing if I'm gonna be alive, you know, like because he was on the hard, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like, it beats not knowing if I'm gonna die, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
sobriety is not, it's not where it's at, you know. So just to have that, and it sounds like you conquered it with creativity. You said you transformed that energy, you channeled that energy in a different direction, and you conquered it with creativity. You found a natural high with the things that you do instead of the states that you could create with the substance. So
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I know it touched somebody to hear that because, you know, we all go through it in different ways. I went through it with the video games, like you were talking about FPSs. For those who don't know, that means first person shooters, you know, so like your Call of Duty or your Battlefield and like all of those games where, you know, it's almost like you don't realize what's happening in the mind. You don't realize what's being done over and over and over again. You're just kind of, you know, trying to get your KD up, your kill death ratio. You're trying to increase it, right? And it's just all about the stats, the next weapon, the next loot, the next level. And for me, I spent so many hours in that video game world, so I empathize when it comes to that virtual reality of finding that that was my escape, you know, for so many years. And it felt like a drug to me without anything else. Like it was just straight, I was just injected into that screen. So I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying that was on top of it. Go ahead.
That's like, now that I look back at it, I remember one of your podcasts or interviews way, way back when you spoke about video games and you said that if anything that the video games have taught you is to try again, you know, start over, press play once again. That was amazing. And I only after I've quit the video games, I know there's a lot that I've gained from that. I know there's a lot, just like with any stories, just like with anime, with, you know, with RPG games, you know, how do things progress? You repeat simple tasks over and over, you gain experience, then you level up a little bit, there's many crossovers between RPG games and real life. So that's one of the things that has helped. However, when it comes to these FPS and fast-paced games, it trains your brain to look for danger. It trains your eyes to scan the horizon looking for the threat. I've realized that this is what has happened to me. And the screen is where your eyes get locked in. Like now, after I've spent so many hours in front of the screen, and in addition, in front of the screen being high, which makes you hyper alert, and everything that gets imprinted is like hyperspeed. Now I have to kind of do things like, you know, I have to rebalance my entire vestibular system for my nervous system not to be like, because I was very good at some of these games, like Overwatch, like some of these games where it was like 6v6,
Yeah.
where you have to basically have 360 vision. You know there's 5 people behind you, they're supporting you, there's 3 guys over there, there's an objective over there, you're in it. And I'm not saying like, I feel like I would have a great advantage over most people if I was put in a situation, in a life or death situation. But in 99% of my normal life, I don't need those types of eyes. I need restful eyes. I need to be calm, not looking for, is there a grenade over there?
Right. Right. You know, and even as you mentioned Overwatch, like Dennis, you just triggered like 1,000 memories. You know, you triggered so many memories in my mind, like the characters that I used to play, like Lucio. I used to play Winston, Moira, who else was it? Zenyatta. And then I realized that these were all like support characters. You know, a lot of the characters that I played were healers, they were support characters, they were trying to help the team. They weren't out in the front, you know, attacking people head on. They weren't really the tanks all the time. They were more the people in the back lines that were just helping assist the other people. So I was like, oh, well, how can I do that in life? You know, how can I be one of those helpers, you know, one of those healers in life, you know? So it was like beautiful to see that and to beautiful to be that. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for bringing those memories back, you know. And also something you said earlier really triggered me when you said that you're rolling up these blunts or these joints while you're watching Snoop Dogg roll up another one or smoke another one, and you're almost in competition with Snoop Dogg. But then in the moment, you ask yourself, "Am I being delusional? Do I know what I'm doing right now? Should I really be doing this?" And one of my friends, I remember when we're no longer that close today, but he had been eating edibles, and they were the brownies, and he was already gone. You know, like SpaceX, he was already gone, but something told him he to this day he will swear a voice told him eat the brownies, eat the brownies. He had already, like, he was already gone, but there were more brownies in the fridge, like there were more brownies in the tray, and it was like eat the brownies, eat the brownies. He's like, no, he said eat the brownies. And he remembered like blacking out, and waking up, and he had the refrigerator door open, and he was like looking, staring at the brownies, and he just came back to his body. It was like his consciousness just opened up. He realized what he was just about to do, and he like slammed the fridge and like went to his room, locked the door. What's going on? He felt like he wasn't in control of his body. So yeah, it's very interesting how things affect us, and how we might not be conscious of the way we're being affected in the moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you say competition, it's it was more of like looking at other people being able to process certain things. Let's say, so Snoop Dogg has a way that he can process these 7 joints in a day. There's a difference, some difference. There's some difference. There's also a big difference, let's say, in generators versus projectors, how they digest food. Because generators have the sacral, which is very close to all the digestion in like pelvis area, so like under the dantian. So generators have all this energy, always cooking, always kind of there. And then when you guys eat something, it's kind of always, it's kind of the furnace is always on. The furnace is always cooking, and the food gets digested way quicker. As projectors, we got to be more careful. I got to be more careful, and I can tell the difference now. I can tell the difference when I'm around generators. I can eat so much more. I can feel my stomach growling in 20 minutes. I can feel everything moving. I go to the bathroom much quicker. Everything just goes through. But then on days where I'm not around people, even half of that, like, I need to really be careful, because the energy is just different. It's different. It's not. There's no this buzzing. It's a very tangible thing. So then maybe it's the same with weed. Maybe some people have different lung capacities. It doesn't matter. The thing is that I was very much in the mode of just looking at everyone else as like a baseline of, that there's this standard of what everyone should be able or capable of withstanding, what everyone should be at, like regular human ability to withstand weed or food or something, that we should all kind of be able to do. A regular normal person, how everybody's taught, a normal person should be able to eat 3 times a day, digest everything tomorrow or the same day, be able to run this much, or live to be 70, and a regular 7-year-old, all these things. And then when I would be looking at other people, I would feel this low self-worth, like, how can he smoke 7 and I can smoke only 1? I'm not able to take it. And this is the mindset that is running, I feel, so many people into the ground. I should be able to take this. I should be able to do this 9 to 5. I should be able to carry more load. I should be able to eat. That guy is eating 5 burgers. There must be something good with eating 5 burgers. And you eat a half of one and you feel nauseous, but no, look, this is what they can handle. I need to handle this as well. I feel like this was the drive to prove that there's this, to reach the standard that is being set, and not even knowing that what we're trying to reach is the coffin. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like on Overwatch, people were trying to reach reach platinum level, the platinum tier, right? Like everybody's rushing to platinum. Oh, you need a good play style, you need a good team, you need a good, like, these people are platinum. Why am I not platinum? Why am I stuck in bronze, or stuck, I'm in diamond and I'm still trying to get, So there was all like you're looking, it was always a comparison. There was constant comparison game versus them, or you and them, like, why can't I get to that, or what's wrong with me that I can't reach to that level? Is it something wrong with me? Is it something wrong? So that criticism is definitely abundant. We definitely go through it in different degrees, for sure. Yeah.
I have a
Go.
question. I you you came to my mind when I was researching something. I was looking up the 88 temple pilgrimage in Japan.
Mm.
It's 88 temples in the, I think the island is Shikoku or something along that name. And it has these 88 temples, old Buddhist places, and there's like a pilgrimage path that you can take either by walking or like a bus charter or a car, doesn't matter. And you can get like a traditional robe, a traditional hat, a staff to walk. There's a book to put up stamps, and you basically visit all the 88 temples, and you get all these stamps. And I was when when I was thinking about, okay, I've been to a lot of different countries in the world, and I was thinking about what led me to these countries. And I realized some of these places that I've mentioned Ireland and Sweden and Spain, and I've kind of went into how many of these places was I drawn to from my, like, you know, my center of my magnet pulling me there, or it was someone else or something else or some should in my mind. And I realized that I don't know where other than Japan that is pulling me ridiculously since anime, since everything. And then I'm like, okay, there's definitely Tokyo as like this place of where most anime gets drawn, all the cultural stuff. But then there's also the rural Japan, the temples, the Buddhist stuff, the Qigong stuff, the martial art places, the places where they make sword, all the blacksmiths and the nature, rice fields.
Mm.
And then I kind of looked it up and saw, okay, there's this pilgrimage, 88 temples, and it says kind of like it takes 12 to 15 days if you use walking and you use trains and buses for very long instead of walking routes. However, you can do a walking pilgrimage and it would take you 45 days. It's more expensive, but then it says, okay, it's more expensive because you have to get more places to sleep along the way, and you have to get more food because it takes 45 days. But then I was like, this estimate of how much money it would take was for somebody in like regular diet regimen and somebody who needs closed spaces to sleep in. And then I was like, if I have a tent and if I'm on the diet that I'm on, which doesn't require, I'll be like, what, a papaya a day, or on liquid days, who knows? If I'm doing something with purpose, if it's feeding me soul purpose, if I'm moving a lot, you know best what I'm talking about. There's not a lot that I need. And then you came to my mind because of the shakuhachi flute, because of the qigong, and because of your religious walking.
Yes, yes.
And then so many things came to mind. Like I know that if I'm ever gonna do this, and I'm really in the process of spinning it in my mind and kind of seeing how and when am I gonna do this. I know that for sure I'm gonna save enough money so I have mobile internet the entire trip. So at every temple I can do a live, I can do a movement session, and that can be transformed into content. That could be one day a series on YouTube, all the people that I meet. And then we have so many similarities. And then I was like, well, Jerome walks a lot. I'm I I feel so much resonance just talking to you. Maybe he would be interested in doing this longer 45-day journey where, okay, I would have to train to get to your level of walking 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm still not there. But let's say we project it into the future and say end of summer we're doing the pilgrimage. Right now, if I start, I could be able to walk 4 to 5 hours every day. I would train my body to be able to do it. And then I would be like, imagine we get there, we do a qigong session that gets put on your channel and my channel, all the people we would meet. I would buy a flute just like yours. We don't need a lot of food. We would be walking, seeing nature. If we don't feel like walking, let's sit on a train, end it with Tokyo, and just I thought of you. I thought that would be a good adventure. I don't
Well,
know.
sounds like a great adventure. Yeah, yeah, it sounds awesome, man. Sounds awesome. I never even heard of that. The 88 temples, 88 Shikoku. You said Shikoku?
Hmm.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, that sounds right up my alley. Adventure. You get like you said you had the book with the stamps, and you get to go to these places, visit these spaces, and see brand new faces. People just meet people and greet people. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, that thought just came to you, or you had that rumbling around for a little while.
Um, it it came to me because we spoke about Japan. We spoke about their level of humility and the way that they approach people and this different vibe. And it came to me when I thought I was like, I want to do this alone. I want to do this as something. I know I want to do this because I feel so drawn to Japan.
Mm.
And then it just hit me all the points with the flute, with the fact that we talked about it, with anime, with your reverence for places like that, of like old, like places where old masters did the qigong. Like I knew immediately you would see the value in this, in being immersed in all this, and it's very far away, and so many things clicked. You also have like your platforms that you would benefit from content like that, and also where you're not tied to a 9 to 5, where you can just
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the walking, and then it's just kind of clicked. Like, okay, maybe if I was alone, I don't know if I would be walking all like this. Maybe I would. I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of. Hmm.
Hmm. I love it.
It was a flip between this might really be something else with someone else.
Hmm.
It's been a while since I've resonated with somebody on these levels, and that they are available to do such an undertaking, because not a lot of people can just accommodate this type of thing in their life and just be like, okay, 45 days I'm walking Japan. Like what?
Right. No, I agree. Also, like, thank you for even sharing it with me and like saying, hey man, like, what if we do this? What if I get ready? You actually inspiring me. You making me want to walk more to get ready, like to get myself built
Mm,
up to for the undertaking. Because when I was in Italy, that was one of the things that I kind of made up my own kind of pilgrimage. I was just going to different campsites and I just kind of mapped it out. Every day I would go to the next one, and then I had my tent, and then I would go to the next one, and then I would go to the next one the next day. And it was like, it just felt so freeing to just walk and keep walking, you know? Like I was like, okay, the next one is 2 hours that way, let's go. And it was just awesome to just, meet people. I was learning the language. So, we'd be learning more of the language authentically. When you immerse yourself in it, you pick it up faster. And yeah, I see the influences with anime definitely, especially when you get inspired. I see the post that you put up with anime characters. The latest one, The Legend of Korra. I saw that you put up things like uh, louder is not more important. You know, you put up, like, taking all the space is not authority, and immovable and hard is not leadership. And like, I'm like, where do these things flow from? Like, come to you to where you put it up so beautifully. The picture matches the words, everything matches. You know?
It's like, thank you. It's food for me. It's food for me. It's for the longest time I used to download thousands of pictures on my computer, and they would just sit there just because they're amazing like that. And when I when I started doing these things, I realized that I when I gave myself permission to use other people's artwork on Instagram as like backgrounds for my stuff, I had a long time of kind of being I wasn't accepting that other people are doing it because I felt like every picture needs to be credited to an artist. But then I saw so many people doing it without giving credit for every single image, and I was just kind of like, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess it really doesn't matter. You know, at least I'm using the picture of somebody that made it, and I'm repackaging it in another way. And who knows, if you really want to see who the artist is, you can download the image, go to Google, you know, drag and drop the image. You'll find, maybe if you want, you'll find it. And then I was like, the first one was the first one of those was an image of some, you know, like alchemist doing something, and the text said, I really just enjoy typing my thoughts on beautiful images. That was the first one. I never posted it. And then I've been an artist for 17 years. Graffiti, graphic design, tattoos, everything, you know, branding. And this, for the longest time, felt like, you know, imposter syndrome. I'm using other people's art. However, the emphasis, I'm not using it for any, I'm not selling the art. I'm, it's, it's, it's a story. I'm using their art for my story, and the emphasis is on the words. This is kind of just like the delivery. It's the backdrop, and it comes as personal experience. So all these things. Let's say that this last one is louder is not more important. Numb is not stable. Immovable is not strong. Taking up space is not authority. This is me talking to myself. This is me speaking when I see when I feel a very loud person trying to take up as much space as possible, trying to lead with force, I feel low self-worth, because if I try to be loud in that sense and get the attention, hey, I know better, it doesn't work, because projectors are not in that, and I don't want to be the leader in that sense. I don't want to get to any place in those means. That's domination. That's the old way. But I have this low self-worth because of the society where men need to be dominant. We need to make sure that we're strong and unmovable. So all, if not most, but if not all, but at least most of the posts that I do, it's me talking to myself. I make these pictures and then I scroll, and it feels nourishing. It feels nourishing. It feels like, it's like, at the same time I validate my recognition of what is aesthetically beautiful, because I'm looking at, like, wow, look at how beautiful are these pictures that I have picked out. Because there's, like, when I choose the pictures, I choose one every like 50 on Pinterest. I scroll, okay, oh, this one, okay, scroll, oh, that one, and make it into a story. I have, for every 10 that you see on my feed, for every new post, there's like 100 that I don't use.
Wow.
And this process is just looking at the pictures. I'm very visual, you know, projector and all this stuff. And then when I put it out, and I put up this, I do try to match the vibes. And then I see people resonating. And I've talked to people. With some people like you, I've been on a podcast. We've talked multiple times with other people. Some of these people are my friends. Some of these people are people I follow, or they follow me, or I've also done podcasts with them, talks, or exchange messages. And when certain people resonate with certain things, it's a connection. It's like, I know why you hit that like. I know you're smiling right now. I know this resonates. I made it for you. I made it for you, even though you don't know it and I don't know it. It's there, and I know it's beautiful, and I know my words are beautiful, and because I know they're beautiful, and I know that you are there, I'm gonna put it out there, even if it's 10 people, even if it's 20 people. I'm gonna put it out there because I know it helps somebody. It's my wisdom. It's my suffering from last 4 days. That when it's gone, I sit down, I pick out some pictures, I put this text on it, and I package it in this way, because it's like, this has to be something beautiful. You remember how we spoke about last time? If we're going to go through this fire, at the end, it has to be something beautiful, because I'm not doing this for nothing. It has to be...
Yeah, I agree. And I love that you share it with others, and that, going through the imposter syndrome, like, some people, they never make it out of that imposter syndrome. It holds them down for so long for them to say, like, who am I? Who am I to share this? Who am I to do this? Who am I to show my creativity in this way? And I love that you do it, because it reminds me, like you said, about rap and about hip hop, like enjoying that music. I remember KRS-One said something about hip hop. He said hip hop didn't create anything. It recreated everything, right? And that stuck with me. He was like, hip hop didn't create anything. It recreated everything. And that's what we get, the remix, right? Remix, right? You remix something,
and sampling.
sampling. You took something that already existed, you sampled it, you remixed it, you made it something new, right? So that's what you do. That's hip hop. You doing hip hop right now. And that's it is. So I love that you use that form of creativity. You gave yourself permission. You gave yourself permission, you know? Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
That was also one of the things that was very hard to swallow on, let's say, my self-worth journey, was believing that in order to prove myself to this world, I would have to be a Tesla. I would have to pull out of myself something that the world has never seen before, that I would have to invent something, new under the sun. And this ties into the remixing, the sampling, the taking of someone else's something. And then it hit me like, but okay, what if all the knowledge, all the books, it's nature, it's not ours. All this energy, all this knowledge, everything, it's not yours. We're borrowing it, we're resampling everything. The only thing that is truly yours is your voice and your expression and your way of doing things. However, if you try to, what is inventing? Inventing is not, like, Tesla didn't invent 0-point energy. He discovered something that was already there. So if I put my self-worth into trying to materialize something that's not already somehow present, I'm gonna burn out, because there's no such thing. There has to, in order to manifest something, it has to already kind of, you have to have the support from the universe. Right. And that was my ego, because kind of like, I want to be the one that has created it. And you want to know, I'm just going to say this and we will go ahead. You want to know the beautiful part is now I feel amazing when I get people on my podcast, because what am I doing? I'm getting someone else's voice. I'm using myself to amplify another person's creation, another person's something, and that feels better than all of this before. It doesn't have to be mine. I could be the support character. I could be the Mercy in Overwatch. Just going there, hitting right click, amplifying damage, hitting left click and healing. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Yes, yes. Like, yo, a team with a Mercy, yo, had no mercy. There was no mercy. Bro, she had that beam. She kept a steady stream. You know, you have Mercy on your team, bro. You could do damage. You could do damage. And, you know, you just, like, you're giving me images. The team are going this way and that. And just, like, you're trying to hit her. And it's like, you can't hit her, you know? So Mercy is like, it was just such a parallel. I love the way you say that. And it's awesome because having that collaboration, having that community, bringing together something and creating something new, and stepping aside, allowing someone else to shine, allowing someone else's light to glow and be luminous, and you just kind of being there, you know, in the moment to witness that is beautiful. Is beautiful. And I, you know, just to read just a few of the things that you put up, it's like you said, numb is not more stable and sustainable. You said polite is not harmless and safe. Mysterious is unclear, loving. Vague for like unending. Flexibility is adaptability. Those who adapt move on. I was like looking at this. I was like, yo, you know, speak lightly, so light can hear. Speak slowly, so earth can hear you. Speak in tune with your breath, so spirit can hear you. And then speak in rhymes, so your mind aligns. I was like, come on, bro. It is, come on. So it's, it really is enriching. You know, it's empowering, it's encouraging, but it's also enlightening. You know, you're lifting people up with your words and just keep going, you know? Yeah.
And you're doing the same. You're doing the same with these podcasts. You're holding the space. You're giving people a chance to shine. So I know you resonate because of that, and I really admire you for that as well. The open palm, you know, like you say, it's like you're holding people in this palm, like.
Beautiful. That was the, you know, that was definitely in the plans. You know, I didn't know that it would evolve like that, kind of like a Pokemon. I didn't know this is what was going to come, but the way that it's evolved, I feel privileged. You know, I do feel privileged to be able to have this space, to be a part of the space, to hold these spaces, and then, you know, to just see somebody realize that that does wonders for me as well. Like what you said, it does wonders for you. It's healing for you to be able to witness somebody being healed by their own authenticity, by their own like qualities. For them to see themselves shine in that way when they didn't even know they shined in that way. You just like point the light, like look at you. No, look. And they're like, wow, you know? So I don't know. I could never get tired of it. You know, it just keeps going, it keeps growing. And yeah, thank you for saying that. You know, sometimes I need to just appreciate that. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah, brother. So this has been awesome once again, man. Once again, this has been a great live. And
Amazing, man. Yeah.
thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
And think about Japan. We don't know when. Just I was throwing it out there.
Hmm.
No pressure. Doesn't have to be, oh, we spoke about this on a live. Now I have to do it. Now we have to kind of keep it going. We don't. We don't. I just wanted to put it out there.
You planted that seed. You planted that seed. You know, I got the flute. The flute is ready. You know, I got my feet. You know, we're ready. The flute, the feet, the street.
All you need.
That's all we need. So wonderful. Take care, brother. Take care. Peace. Peace.